Tell me, when does your Monday begin? Can't force yourself to stop procrastinating and invest time in your own growth. You're not alone. Millions of young people are stuck in the same swamp. In this video, I'll show you how to get out and become the best version of yourself. And closer to the end, I'll reveal the main problem that makes all the other points weak on their own, but powerful when combined. I made a massive mistake that cost me an entire year. And chances are, you're doing the exact same thing without even realizing it. But here's the good news. This can be changed. And I learned how through my own experience. There was a time when my life was completely stuck too. Days passed, but nothing changed. Then something snapped, a chain of events that forced me to rethink everything. Today, I'm going to share 5 changes that completely turned my life around. These steps will help you stop standing still, and we'll start with a small shift that triggers big progress. 1. Fix your morning. Every successful day starts with a strong morning. My mornings used to be chaotic. I'd hit snooze 5 times, jump up at the last second, and rush out the door. That set the tone. My entire day felt hurried and drained. But once I built a consistent morning routine, everything started to change. I began going to bed and waking up at the same time, stopped falling asleep with my phone, and in the morning I'd drink water first, make my bed and do a light stretch. Yeah, it sounds simple, but those basic actions gave me a sense of control right from the start of the day. Research supports this. People who wake up early tend to be more proactive and productive, and on average they're happier and healthier too. When you get your sleep and early hours under control, you load yourself with energy and a mindset for success. Your morning routine becomes your personal victory ritual. When you've already done a few good things in the morning, the rest of the day naturally becomes more productive. This change matters, but a good morning alone isn't enough. If you immediately fall back into chaos and distractions afterward, all that effort disappears. So let's talk about the biggest enemy of your productivity. 2. Disconnect from digital noise. My biggest breakthrough happened when I completely changed my relationship with my phone and social media. I used to never let my smartphone leave my hand. Endless feeds, notifications, videos. It felt like rest, but in reality it was stealing my life. Sound familiar? The average person checks their phone 150 times a day. We grab the screen the moment we feel bored without noticing how many hours we're losing. Worse, every switch destroys your focus. After even a short scroll, your brain needs about 23 minutes to return to deep concentration. Think about how much focus gets wiped out by those tiny scroll sessions. So I made a decision. For 1 month, I deleted the most addictive apps, Instagram, TikTok, and only allowed social media at scheduled times instead of endlessly. It was hard. The withdrawal from dopamine hits is real. But after a couple weeks, I suddenly realized I had a massive amount of free time and my mind felt clearer. I finished a book I never had time for. I started sleeping better without that glowing screen late at night. And I also noticed something else. The constant anxiety I had gotten used to disappeared, that endless feeling that you're missing something important if you're not online. Without digital noise, both focus and calm came back. The key isn't just removing distractions, it's filling that freed time with something constructive. When you reach for your phone out of boredom, replace the reflex. Take a walk, do 10 squats, read a few pages. You have no idea how productive life becomes without constant notifications. And still, even after removing the biggest distractions, there's another enemy left, your own laziness. And that's where the next change becomes non-negotiable. 3. Build discipline. Don't wait for motivation. The secret to success is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. I used to wait for motivation. I told myself, tomorrow I'll feel ready and then I'll start. Weeks would pass, and I'd stay in the same place because the mood never arrived. My biggest mistake was relying on inspiration instead of building discipline. So the next step was forcing myself to act daily, no excuses. Science confirms what many great people already knew. Persistence and hard work beat talent and luck. Over 10 years, researchers observed 11,000 cadets at the West Point Military Academy and found that grit predicts success more accurately than IQ. Psychologist Angela Duckworth, who studies the concept of grit, says perseverance is roughly twice as important as talent. So what does that look like in real life? I made one rule. Every day I do at least one thing toward my goal. No excuses. Tired? No mood? I still do it. Maybe minimal, but I do it. If the goal is fitness, I do a 10-minute workout even on my laziest day. If it's studying, I read at least a couple pages of my notes. At first I had to push myself hard, but after a month, discipline became automatic, like brushing your teeth. Discipline is a muscle. Train it, and you grow stronger and more confident because you know you can rely on yourself. But here's the catch. Working hard isn't a guarantee of success if your effort is scattered everywhere. You can stay busy all day and still go nowhere. That's why the next step is learning how to focus on what matters. 4. Focus on what matters. Look at your day. What are you actually doing all day? Sometimes you're busy the whole day, but the result is zero. I realized that beyond discipline, I lacked the ability to set priorities and go deep into one task. My workflow used to look like chaos, studying but also replying to chats while YouTube plays in the background. Sound familiar? We think we're doing multiple things at once, but it's an illusion. Experts point out that what we call multitasking is really just rapid task switching, and it burns through your cognitive resources. When you scatter yourself, you spend energy and get minimal output. So I changed my approach. When I work on something important, nothing else exists. A timer for 25 or 50 minutes, Pomodoro, phone on airplane mode, all extra tabs closed. I tell myself, the next hour is only this task. At first, it felt uncomfortable. My brain begged for distractions. But after just a few days of deep focus, I felt real progress. Tasks I'd been avoiding for weeks suddenly got done in 30 minutes once I stopped splitting my attention. When I stopped grabbing everything at once, I started doing less, but accomplishing more. Plan your day around 2-3 truly important tasks, the ones that move you toward your goal, and confidently cut the rest. Focus is your growth accelerator. So now you've fixed your morning, removed distractions, you're working hard and intentionally. Sounds like the recipe for success. But there's one more detail. Without the final step, it's easy to stop at your current level and never grow further. The last change ties everything together and takes you to the next level. 5. Step outside your comfort zone. All the previous changes prepared the ground, but real growth begins where your comfort zone ends. It's easy to do what feels safe and familiar, but then you grow slowly or not at all. I realized this when I looked back at my lost year. The whole time I avoided difficult things. I feared failing, felt embarrassed to start something new. Basically, I always chose the path of least resistance, and because of that, there were no mistakes and no progress. Now I deliberately challenge myself. Afraid of public speaking? I'll volunteer for the next event and prepare a short speech. Struggling to run 5 kilometers? I'll sign up for a race and start training. Every one of those moves is scary, but that's what creates breakthroughs. Every time you push through discomfort, you expand the boundaries of what you can do. Even if it doesn't go perfectly, you'll learn something valuable, and next time you'll be stronger. When you consistently step beyond the familiar, your growth becomes exponential. What felt impossible yesterday becomes your new normal tomorrow. Yesterday you feared something. Today you do it without tension. That's how you become the person you've always wanted to be. Conclusion. Remember how I mentioned my huge mistake at the beginning? It was this. I kept waiting for the perfect moment and for motivation while scrolling my phone instead of acting. I lost a year and achieved nothing. But these 5 changes helped me break the cycle. In just a few months of living like this, I made more progress than in all the years before. The key is to start, even with the smallest step. So I'll ask again, when does your Monday begin?